Okay, in this video, I want to show you how to use your graphing calculator to solve a problem like this. So this is question number 33 in lesson 3.2. Let f of x equal 2 to the x power. We want to estimate f prime of 1 by using a graphing utility to zoom in at the appropriate point until the graph looks like a straight line and then estimating the slope. That's part A. Part B, using a graphing utility to estimate the limit in definition 3.2.2 by making a table of values for a succession of smaller and smaller values of h. So let's get to this. Let's go ahead and start working on figuring out part A. Okay, so I have my graphing calculator ready. Here's 2 to the x. And so what I want to do is I want to estimate f prime of 1 by zooming in on an appropriate region. So let's set my window to the good old standard, negative 10 to 10, negative 10 to 10. And that's all I need to focus on. So let's hit graph. So here's 2 to the x. Now my focused attention will be at f prime of 1. You're looking at f of x. So this will help me readjust my window. So now instead, let's go from negative 1 to 2 on the x-axis. And let's go from negative 1 to 3 on the y-axis. And that should help me focus my attention in the region that I want, which is right around here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little feature called Z-Box. So I go to Zoom. Z-Box is option 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cursor key to grab the upper left-hand corner of my box. So let me get closer to 1 here. So this is x equals 0.886. There we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer to 1. I hit enter. And now I'm going to create the rest of the box. So scroll over. X is now larger than 1. Hit enter, and it's going to zoom in on just that region. And it looks like a straight line. Okay, so I want to estimate what the value is of f prime of 1. So in other words, I want the slope of the tangent line. And since the function looks a lot like a line right now, the slope of the tangent line will be pretty much the slope of what I approximate. So if I steal the numbers, this is about 1, 2. So I'm going to use 1, 2 as a point. And all I need is one other point, so I don't have to go very far away from that. So 1, 2 is a point that I'm going to use. And the other point that I'm going to use here is 1.01, comma 2.014. So now let's go ahead and use those points in order to calculate the slope of the tangent line. So slope of a tangent line, y2 minus y1. So 2.014 minus 2 divided by the difference in the x values, 1.01 minus 1. So there's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the slope of my tangent line is approximately 1.4. So I would say that f prime of 1 is approximately 1.4. Now for part B, it says use the graphing utility to estimate f prime of 1 for successively smaller values of h. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create another function here called y2. And remember, I want to get closer and closer and closer to 1. So how am I going to do this? Because my calculator isn't going to let me use h. Okay? So this is the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to use the definition of a limit, or definition of a derivative, which is the limit as h goes to 0, of h goes to 0, of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. But because I want to estimate f prime of 1, this is going to be the limit as h goes to 0 of f of 1 plus h minus f of 1 all over h. Now my calculator won't let me use h. It'll let me use x. So the way this is going to look is I'm going to use y1 of 1 plus, I'd like to say h, but I can't. So I'm going to say 1 plus x minus vars, y vars, y1 of 1 divided by, well, it would be divided by h, but I don't have h. So I'm going to use x. And so I've created another function called y2. And so we're just pretending that x is h right now. Okay, go to second table set. Make sure that independent is set to ask, and then go to second table. Let's clear these values out. Let's see, how do I clear those out? Delete. There we go, delete, delete. Okay, so I want successively smaller values of h, but I can't use h, I have to use x. So let's start with 0.1. So this is close to f prime of 1. Now let's try 0.01. Closer. 0.001. Getting closer. And so now I can see, since y2 is the difference quotient, I'm getting closer and closer. As a matter of fact, that's as far as it's going to go. So my calculator is telling me that a good approximation for f prime of 1 is 1.3863. And that is how you use your calculator in order to do this kind of a problem. God bless you, wherever you are today.